Southern California. That'll be a great chat coming up in the middle of this hour. Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston back here on the Rich Eisen Show. Tom, I had to call you with the Wickersham article out there. How are you, Tom?
I'm tremendous. Always happy to come on with you, Rich.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother. So let's get into it. What, in your mind, is the most unbelievable or not to be believed facts that you read in the Wickersham article, knowing the team as you do?
Yeah, that Tom Brady is kicking rocks about not being named the player of the week. That jumped off the page to me. But, there's plenty in there, and I wrote about it exactly a week ago, that is spot on. There's a level of tension and uncertainty in Foxborough that is fairly unprecedented. And it's an amalgamation of things, Rich. But more than anything else, it's a sense that you have a 41-year-old quarterback as of this August. You have a 65-year-old head coach and a 76-year-old owner. And you have, at this juncture, traded away a very, very, very good backup quarterback who certainly could have given certainty going forward. So all of those things that Seth wrote about are accurate. And there's not a lot of inaccuracies in it. There are points that I would contend, and there's an overall sense of palace intrigue and shivving each other that I don't think exists. The notion that Kraft big-footed Bill Belichick and said, this is what you're going to do, I think is overstated. Also, there were no contract offers formally cobbled together for Jimmy Garoppolo and slid across to his representatives that were dismissed. The fact is, they knew Jimmy wanted to play. They didn't even get to the point where they were making contract offers. If they spitballed about what a contract would look like, that's one thing. But they knew he wasn't hanging around for a bridge contract, certainly not for $7 million less than the franchise tag, which the Patriots would have to apply to him.
Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston here on the Rich Eisen Show. What else would you contend with from that article then, Tom?
I would just say that there was never an instance, from the reporting I've done, Rich, where Robert Kraft went to Bill Belichick and said, you have to trade Jimmy, nor was Tom Brady behind a move to do that. Bill Belichick loved Garoppolo. He even said that in his concluding press conference, that we tried every way we could to figure out a way to make this work. But in the end, franchising, a bridge contract, those two things wouldn't work, A, for the team, B, for Garoppolo. So the booby prize in this is that you have to trade one, and the booby prize is that you end up with what many consider the greatest quarterback of all time. So that to me is, and I think that has to be understood. I don't think Bill Belichick really needed to be persuaded to keep it. But I will say this. When he references, Rich, that it was a complex situation, I think that alludes to the acknowledgement that, look, this is not Lawyer Malloy, and it's not Rodney Harrison or Logan Mankins or Richard Seymour. This is a guy who still plays at an MVP level that we owe a lot to. Maybe we don't go out to dinner all the time, but, yeah, I don't think I can trade him either.
So
period.
Before we get to the what happens next, let's still linger in the why are we here in the first place of it all, Tom Curran. So I'm trying to put all the pieces together. If I feel like this is the few good men here. If we ordered Santiago to not be touched, then why was he touched? And Garoppolo is the Santiago here of it, Tom. Who ordered the code red on Santiago? Was it Brady? Was it Kraft? I mean, it's or you're telling me the circumstances of it because they didn't do everything to keep him if they never offered Don Yee a contract and slid it across the table, Tom. So then why was Santiago touched, Tom?
That's a great question and a good way of putting it. I think you have to get up on the highest tree and look down at it. They didn't slide him the contract because they knew he wouldn't take it. $17 million or $18 million over 4 years and then escalating when you become the starter. Jimmy sat there for 3 years. We've seen in San Francisco, he's ready to go. He wasn't interested in it. And the spitballing done or intimations that we're going to make you a contract offer, I think would have been met by, save it. We're not talking bridge contracts here. And the Patriots didn't want to franchise him and deal with $46 million worth of quarterback expenditure. And if they extended Tom, to try and reduce that expenditure, wouldn't that just be saying to Jimmy and to Don Yee, who represents both, yeah, he's actually not going anywhere, guys? So that's where it gets to be a complex situation. Why was the code red ordered? I don't think a code red was ordered. I think that it just came to a point where Belichick threw up his hands and said, you know what, if we don't trade him now, we ain't franchising him because we can't afford that. And we're not going to be able to trade him in February because he's a damn free agent in about 30 days from then, so nobody's going to do that. So let's just send him to a good home. I hate to say that, but that, to me, it sounds implausible. But when you really think about it, it is the only plausible explanation. Belichick didn't want to trade either guy. He traded the more tradable one.
Well, then there's this supposition from the article about this, Tom, is that maybe Belichick's sitting there saying, okay, Brady and the owner have a love affair, and I can't contend with that. And so let's get Garoppolo out of here, try and win right now. I'm going to send him to a spot where he's going to flourish because he called San Francisco, according to this article. He texted Kyle Shanahan, who he has respect for. Let's send him to a spot where I'm going to look pretty damn good, and then I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with Alex Guerrero anymore, that I've got a quarterback that's not the same anymore. I know the way this league works. 41-year-old quarterbacks, 42-year-old quarterbacks. I don't care about the avocado ice cream or whatever, or the pajamas that can help you get better, by sleeping them overnight. I'm out of here. So what about that, Tom? Is that a possibility?
No, from the people I've spoken to, they expect Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to be with the team in September 2018. There is, among others I've spoken to, all people plugged in and near the situation, or other people I've spoken to feel so unnerved by the uncertainty of it, the perception that maybe Kraft big-footed Belichick, that they're like, you know what? Maybe we should get while the getting's good. And that's why the uncertainty, I feel, because they're clandestine, not just with the media, they're clandestine with each other. And when I say that, I mean the staff doesn't know what's going on. So that unease about, is Bill going to leave? How many years does Bill actually have left on his contract? That is all figured into this, and I think caused a lot of this trepidation, which has turned into, who's doing what to whom. One other thing I'll mention, too, is there is a sense from the article that every time Tom Brady throws incomplete, it's a sign that he's 41. It can't just be that he threw incomplete. And I think that exists here in New England, especially in light of having traded Garoppolo. Brady has, over the last 5 games, not played at the level he did at the beginning of the year. And I think the supposition in Foxborough, it's like when you're driving your car and it has a knock. Oh, my God, how much is this going to cost me? It can't just be a little knock. The things that Brady is doing now that don't look good on particular Sundays, the same things he's done all throughout his career, but now it's that, oh, my God, here's the end. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's true.
A couple more minutes left with Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston. So is it possible that Belichick's on a walk year and we don't even know it? Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely, it's possible. My supposition is that's not the case. Okay. And again, from folks who've told me, I expect them both around here in 2018. That leads me to believe that he's not.
But here's the scoop too, Tom. And I've dropped a couple of breadcrumbs on Twitter on this too.
We all have breadcrumbs.
We all breadcrumbs, right? The question is, do we have a loaf or not? So, but there's one job opening in the NFL that would even give Belichick a split second of thinking about that's open right now. And they also have the number 2 overall pick, and he knows the family that runs it. And the Giants' job is open. I have no idea if Gettleman would even entertain the idea with whatever contract he has, or the Giants would even entertain it. But you have to think they would. Is there any there to that sort of sense, Tom, that Belichick and with everything would just throw his hands up and say, I'm just going to finish up my career somewhere else, like the Giants?
If he really decides that at 65, 66 he wants a challenge, I think that would be a hell of a challenge, because you have to take Eli Manning out behind the barn, finish that job. Then you have to find a new quarterback. Then you have to find new coordinators, because Josh certainly isn't coming with you. Additionally, you have to feel comfortable working with Dave Gettleman, who, in my mind, is one serious, no BS kind of guy who has an idea of how he wants to do things. I like the way Gettleman operates. He almost operates in a Belichickian manner. You know what? I'm in charge here. But unless they share a brain, I don't know if those two old dogs would necessarily be able to combine and work together. I don't know what the relationship is. But that's what I look at. But is Belichick going to want to go in after Gettleman has probably been given the keys to that franchise and told to fix it, and have to, off Gettleman or listen to Gettleman? That's why I think that's kind of a non-starter.
Okay. Ask Tom Curran the poll question before we send him on the road and back into the bomb cyclone.
Hey, Tom, who's most likely to end their career with the Patriots? Most likely to end their career with the Pats? Belichick, Brady, neither.
Belichick. Because if Brady wants to play past 2019, when his contract expires, he may well have to do it elsewhere.
Where would that elsewhere be?
Well, you never know.
It ain't going to be San Francisco. Which is always, that's the funniest thing, too, is because that's another breadcrumb that others who I really respect and like in the media have offered to me. It ain't a coincidence that they sent him to San Francisco, It's full of intrigue, and look, it's been unbelievable to cover these guys, and I think that the supposition and presumption is when it ends, there's going to be a lot of why did this happen, and there'll be a lot of bloody knives to uncover at the bottom of the garbage can who did what to whom. I don't think it's going to be as ugly as folks think, but that doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it and try and figure that out.
Tell me about it. So in that regard, before I let you go, when's the next time Belichick and Brady have media availabilities? Best you can tell. When's the next time that happens?
Oh, crap. That will be Thursday of next week.
Thursday of next week?
They sent out the triple joint statement, though.
I know. So whenever they do speak, they could say, hey, we put out a statement. Next question. We've moved on to fill in the blank. Okay.
They both will. Actually, they'll have media availability Monday on the radio on WEEI. Both guys do a hit then. So I'm sure that there'll be some grunts and groans.
We'll be plugged in. Thanks again, Tom. Happy New Year to you. Thanks for the call.
You too, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
That's Tom Curran.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.